Hey Paul, how are you?
Good, Bonnie.
That's good. I guess just on the game over the weekend, what did you kind of make on it against Melbourne? Obviously not the result that we wanted.
No, not the result or the performance in the first half that we wanted, for sure. Yeah, classic old cliche of game of two halves for us, really. We didn't start very well, and Melbourne Victory were good and on a roll, and we really suffered in the first half. Couldn't really put any passes together to kind of get any sustained possession, and so we had to defend a lot, and we were getting exposed down the sides, particularly set pieces. Those were the two areas that were really kind of hurting us. So yeah, we copped a few goals, and then just to rub salt into the wound, Chidiac decided to hit a bomb from outside the box. So yeah, it was not a nice experience in the first half, and yeah, definitely not what we were planning to do or expected. But sometimes football goes like that, and we had a good talk at half time, sorted out a few things, changed a few things, and made some subs. And then I actually thought the second half the response was really good. It's not that easy to respond, I think, in those situations when you're 4-0 down in a really positive way. But I thought the girls did a really good job. They came out fighting, and we made a real go of it in the second half. I thought we were probably the best team in the second half, and yeah, obviously on the scoreboard we won the second half 3-1 and made the game pretty interesting in the end. Yeah, another 5 or 10 minutes could have been interesting, but yeah, I was proud of the response and pleased with the way that the girls played in the second half. We stuck to our guns. We carried on playing the way we want to play, which was good to see. But ultimately, we just left ourselves way too much to do in that second half, and all the damage was done in the first half, really.
I think 3 of the goals came from either corners, set pieces, or from the cross. Is that something you're working on this week?
Yeah, look, generally speaking, set pieces have been really strong for us this year, and we've been good on attacking set plays and strong on defensive set plays. So that was a little bit of a surprise, I think, particularly as normally we would sort of maybe do one dedicated set piece training session each week, but the week leading into Melbourne, we actually did set pieces every day. So yeah, it came as a big surprise to all of us, I think. But we were just not good on set plays at all. So yeah, we've critically analysed all those. We've done some work since we've been in Perth, gone through every set play with the team and worked on that. So yeah, hopefully we've come up with the solutions, and we can stop looking so vulnerable on the set plays, because it did feel like almost every corner there was something happening. And yeah, it's not a nice feeling when you're like that. We actually changed some stuff at half time, and then ironically didn't have a corner to defend in the second half. So yeah, it's one of those things which caught us a bit by surprise. But yeah, as I say, we've kind of gone through it forensically, really, almost frame by frame, and looked at all the details. So I think that will help us for the game on Friday.
Obviously, the run of results since Christmas haven't been great, especially across the ditch. What do you put that down to? What do you think is going on here? Obviously, the team has potential, but what have you kind of assessed the problem being?
Yeah, I think, look, there's probably a number of things. If it was just one thing, then obviously we'd hope that we would have figured that out and fixed it. So it's been a little bit like a leaking bucket. You kind of plug a few holes and then it spurts out somewhere else, and there hasn't been necessarily something that's been common throughout the whole thing. And it's tough, like, to kind of identify those things and to really put your finger on it and say, right, that's exactly what we need to change to then stop these things from happening, because every game's different and each team that you play against play in a different way. So it is a process. But yeah, look, I think first of all, the schedule has not helped us. We've played 8 away games in 9 rounds, which is a ridiculous schedule. I don't think there's any other team in the league, male or female, across the ALeagues that's playing 8 away games in 9 rounds. So that's really been a factor because you don't have the breakup of the travel. And the one time that we were at home was the Canberra game where obviously we played pretty well and won the game. So we haven't had that kind of balance like all the other teams are getting, where you come home and have some home matches and you don't have to travel for a bit. So the constant travel is hard work. But it's not the reason why we're losing, but it's definitely a factor in that we're having to kind of try and deal with. But yeah, look, I think we're learning a lot. I think the players are learning a lot about what they need to do better in situations. We haven't dealt with the setbacks too well away from home. We had that big setback at home against Canberra with Riley being sent off, and we dealt with that really well, and we saw the game out. When we've had those setbacks in Australia, we haven't been able to kind of deal as well with those things. So that's something we're looking to try and improve, show more physicality and fight when we need to, when we're kind of not quite in the flow that we want to be in. We have to try and find a way to kind of work our way into the game and stay in the game. And unfortunately, we haven't kind of found the formula for that yet. But you know, we're still growing as a team. We're still trying to improve on things, and yeah, it's time for us to stand up because time is running out. And yeah, we don't believe we're a team that deserve to be where we are on the table based on the ability we've got in the squad. I think we're all feeling a bit hard done by there, but it's up to us now. We've got to kind of put things together and put some points on the board, and it all starts tomorrow night in Perth. We have to get something from this game.
Would you say depth is an issue in the squad?
I think depth's been tested. I feel pretty confident in the squad that we've got, and especially like most recently, a lot of the younger players have had to kind of step up and play, and there's some real positives from that. I think looking back over the last few weeks, Daisy and Helena have kind of emerged into the team and played some minutes, and I think they've both done really well, and they've added a lot to the squad and the dynamic. But then from an overall team perspective, you know, that's two sort of new players out of your academy, and when the team's not in great form and playing brilliantly, it's hard for them, and it's unfair to sort of rely on them, and because they're just learning their trade really. So yeah, look, we are being tested with depth for sure. We've had a few obviously long-term injuries which have affected the squad, and then the Ferns thing over the last few weeks with having sort of 6 away initially, and then Flea getting injured as well. The depth is definitely being tested. But the players we've got here, I've still got a lot of faith in them and believe that the players are good enough. So I don't think it's affecting our squad in terms of we don't have a good enough team to put out each week, but we do need to, you know, very quickly come together and work out the best formula on these away games.
And lastly, just from me on Alyssa, she played a full 90. She mentioned last week that she really had struggled at some point in the season with trying to get those opportunities. What did you make of her performance?
Yeah, I thought it was good. In those games, when you're defending so much in the first half, it's difficult for those creative attacking players to really shine out, get on the ball. But one of the things that I've just been super impressed with from Alyssa this season is I think she's known as this kind of ball player, dribbles, kind of create stuff. It's probably fair to say she isn't known as a sort of tough, hard, like box-to-box midfielder. And some of the things that she's done to improve this season in that aspect, I've been so impressed with. She's working real hard on her physicality, and I think like we're seeing that in games. She's holding the ball better, competing for the ball better. Like she's really added like a physical dimension to her game. And then that whole kind of like mental toughness as well. Like she's staying in games, she's fighting for the team. She's showing like resilience on the field. So yeah, I'm really proud of her. She's made some big gains this season in areas that perhaps she's not as well known for, and I think it's just made her a much better all-round midfielder. And that's what I was pleased with on Sunday, is she really fought hard for the team and she grinded and she worked and she was getting back and forward and she put in a real big effort and yeah, she made some really big kind of tackles, interceptions, and she was a bit of a presence in the midfield when we needed it. So yeah, I'm pleased with how she's making progress. It's been awesome to see that.
Cool, thanks, Paul.
No worries.
Hey Paul, how's it going? It looks much nicer where you are than it does in Auckland.
It's very nice. I have to say, I'm yeah, more than pleased with the weather in Perth. It's very beautiful. It's nice from change from Wellington.
Can we just get an injury update? Like I guess is Mariana potentially able to start, and then I think ALeague and Kate Taylor would be the other two.
Yeah. So yeah, Mariana came through the game fine. She's good. Available to start. Yeah, she's feeling pretty much 100%. Obviously, just maybe 90-minute match fitness is something we're still build up with her now. But in terms of the injury, she's good. No problems there. ALeague is sort of working away in the background. We'll make a decision tomorrow on whether or not she can be involved. It's probably kind of touch and go, 50-50 as to whether she can play a part or not. And then Kate hasn't travelled with us, so she's in Wellington, so she won't play tomorrow. She's still resting back home, so we haven't brought her over for this leg of the trip. So yeah, that's the update on those three.
Is she a chance for Sydney, or is it just too soon to?
Who, Kate?
Yeah,
potentially. When we get back, we're lucky in the sense that we've got 9-day turnaround between this game and the next game, so it gives us up more than a week to assess kind of where Kate and Flea are in terms of playing against Sydney. But for sure, she could potentially be available. Yeah.
Perth haven't won the last 8 matches, I think. But if they do beat you tomorrow night, they would go up to 6th and they'd be 8 points clear. I know you'd have a game in hand, but that would be a margin that's starting to look pretty insurmountable. Is tomorrow night both your best chance for an away win in a while and also a really important one in terms of that top 6 ambition?
Yeah, it feels that way. It does feel that way. Classic 6-pointer, as they say. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any real need to sort of try and work around the truth of the matter here. Like if we don't win tomorrow night, we're going to leave ourselves a really big mountain to climb in those last 4 weeks. It's obviously still like possible, but to keep it in our own hands and to keep it our destiny kind of where we want it, we have to win tomorrow night. So yeah, it feels like it is a big game. It feels like it is a must win. It feels like it's a good opportunity for us, as you say. 2 teams that have been struggling to pick up wins in the last few months. So yeah, it's going to feel like a real battle, a real fight. So yeah, the message has been all week, and the girls, we've got to be up for it, and we've got to be ready to go and put our best foot forwards. And yeah, I think if we show that and have the right mentality and have the right physicality in the game, then I think we'll have the quality to win. But yeah, it's probably going to feel exactly the same for them as well, I'd imagine. So yeah, there's a lot riding on this one.
Yeah. I hope you don't mind. Can I just ask you about a couple of your former Phoenix boys you had as an academy reserves coach?
Sure.
Just Ben Old, first of all, what have you made of seeing him sort of have a breakthrough season in ALeague men?
Yeah, so good. I mean, obviously it's awesome for the club at the moment that the men's team are doing what they're doing and at the top of the league, it's created a great buzz around the place, and for it to kind of like shine out some of the academy products is, I think everyone at the club feels like so good about that, because yeah, having our own kind of like homegrown players in the team coming through just means the world to everyone, I think. So yeah, for me personally, I always knew that Ben had this like amazing potential. Had such a great mentality towards improvement and getting better, and obsessed almost with getting better. So you always knew his potential was extremely high. And so I think it's just fantastic. Chiefy's given him that confidence and that backing, and he's able to go out and show what he can do. And he's getting the reviews that he deserves. And it's not a surprise to me, I think he was kind of destined for this, and hopefully he can keep going and help the team and keep pushing the team forward, because yeah, he's been playing fantastic, and I'm really pleased for him.
Because you must go back way back to Northern football sort of days. Do you remember when you first came across him?
Yeah, I signed him for my under-13s at North Shore United. That was that was a while ago now. He was like a little dynamic kid come over from Forest Hill. So yeah, we've known each other a long time, and great family, lovely lads. Like, you know, you just when you see them have success like that, and you know what it means to them and their family and how hard they've worked for it since they were little, it's just so nice to see. So yeah, it's awesome, and it's so cool for us as a club at the moment, because you know, I have that kind of old academy connection with a lot of those first team players, and we're all sharing the same facility. So, you know, I see them come in after the weekends and get to chat to them still and see them. So it's so cool that we can kind of all share it as a club as well in that environment. So that's pretty awesome. But look, he's done all the hard work. He's put so much into it. So yeah, good on him, and he deserves it.
Okay, cool. Cheers, Paul.
No worries.